Cheers, everybody. We are back for another edition of Bourbon on a Budget. It's TJ Pittenger, Brendan Sonnone, and as you guys saw on Tuesday, a fill-in for Ben, who passed away. Didn't really pass away, but is no longer with us in this state. He went to Colorado this week. So Elliott sitting in with us again. Your second time on the show. First returning guest. We've had 6, 7 guests. I don't know. I can't count that high. But thanks for joining us again for this review. If you guys haven't, go follow us on social media, Bourbon on a Budget. You can find us on Instagram. Brendan runs a TikTok. There's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all the things.
Wait, Brendan runs a TikTok?
Yeah, this is a new development since you've been here.
Oh, God.
Oh, you got to go see that.
I need to, I do need to check that.
The weirdest stuff, apparently in TikTok, you just put really weird stuff on there, and it blows up, and that's what I've learned, is just the weirder the better, which I think is in my wheelhouse perfectly.
The guy that designed this logo in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, his son is 9 years old, and he put in our group chat the other day. He was like, yeah, my son posted a video of a water bottle falling over, and it's got 375,000 views and 60,000 likes. And I'm just like, dude, I'm over here struggling to have my own family add me back on Facebook, let alone, get millions of people to like. But yes, so I think your point is valid, Brendan. The dumber it is on TikTok, the better it does.
You just call the 9-year-old kid dumb?
The video of the water bottle falling over was certainly a dumb thing to like.
Gotcha.
All right, it's review time. Tell us what we're reviewing, Brendan, now that we've killed 2 minutes of these people's lives.
All right. Well, this is an absolute banger. One of the early ones that got me to fall absolutely in love with bourbon. Harder to find now. This is Colonel E.H. Taylor. It's a straight bourbon. Oh, God, I almost put on a really expensive bottle and broke both. That would have been bad. It is from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. It is a bottle and bond bourbon, technically. We sampled this back when we did the bottle and bond tournament, but this is a fair, full, focused review, right? So it's 100 proof. It is aged 10 years. The mash bill not disclosed. It is believed to be Buffalo Trace's number 1 mash bill, which is lower amount of rye, so very high corn mash bill. The MSRP is about $40, but like so many Buffalo Trace products, getting harder and harder to find, especially at that price. Online, you see that about $120. I scored my first one for $45, and then I got another one for $50, and then my third one I got, which I no longer have 3, I just have 2, but this one specifically here, Costco, at $38. Can't go wrong. Can't beat that.
Yeah, it did win that bottle and bond tournament against, do you remember all of them, Brendan? And then we'll roll.
We had Henry McKenna bottle and bond, which is also a 10-year-old. We had early times. Then we had Ben's favorite, that nasty nutty old tub. Old tub.
It tasted like an old tub. So anyway, but yeah, I'm glad that we're finally reviewing this tonight, because if something wins a tournament, we should review it.
Mm-hmm. I agree totally. So this is one that I love, and we mentioned it's the Buffalo Trace line. Elliott, do you think it's fair to call this a grown-up version, more or less, of Eagle Rare Buffalo Trace?
It's definitely got a little more bite than Eagle Rare, for sure. I definitely think grown-up in the sense that you probably would find non-bourbon drinkers take to Eagle Rare more than this early on, just because I think Eagle Rare, is probably a little more mellow.
Mm-hmm. It's the next step. If you like Buffalo Trace and if you like Eagle Rare, I agree. I think it is the same mash bill. It's just aged a little bit longer and proofed up a little bit higher. So this is a good. If you like those two, I think this is what you should pursue and look for in your journey as you continue to try to explore the Buffalo Trace line.
All right, are you nosed a little bit, Elliott? You want to go first and talk to us about the nose on this thing?
Guess first. One day, all three of us, Ben, and I enjoy having Elliott here, but it's been a while since Ben, TJ, and I have all been together. It's a month.
Do you get the, this is going to sound awful in a way, but you get that little bit of gasoline burn?
There's definitely, I was starting to think, do I have COVID? And nothing smells it's just gas. There's more with it.
There's more with it, but there's certain bourbons that, and I happened this week to me, I know something else, and it was oh. Yeah. It almost singes your nostril hairs.
This one gets you a little bit. I was thinking, I hope somebody else says this before me, because they're just going to think I have something. But
I was going to be nice and say peppery. It's very peppery is what I was going to say.
It's got a nice nose, though. I mean, after you get past a little bit of a burn.
Yeah. It hits a lot of a lot of fruit. Like I can think of like 3 or 4 different fruits that are like kind of popping up in my mind, and none of them are like that similar. You get the cherries, you get like an apple freshness, you get a little citrusy too, kind of floral as well. Then like a lot of baking spices, confectioner stuff. Like it's kind of all over the place for me, and in a nice way. Like it's all pleasant. There's just a lot going on in here.
It's like a sweetness and a spice, like a sweetness and a burn. Go ahead, Elliot. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say I get a little more like the toffee, caramel, vanilla. That's kind of when you say the confectioner's blend there. I get that.
Yeah, toffee's a good note because I got that as soon as you were like right before you said that. That's funny that went in my mind too. There's a lot going on in the nose. It's been a while since I've sat down and actually like done my sniffing in a bourbon, but this is complex.
What about the taste?
Let's see. Elliot, I'll let you go first because I haven't sipped it yet.
Tastes like crap. Is that good enough?
That's would you like to do this once a week? Because that just sounded like Ben.
I like, and this is probably better for later discussion, but you keep getting, I get distorted by what's happened with the pricing on it, and you got to kind of go back and realize what it sells for and judge it by that. And so, I mean, it's very tasty. I mean, it's a really, like Brent said, it's a really good bourbon. It is.
I remember when I first got into this was 3 or 4 years ago into bourbon, like this was readily available. Elliot, do you remember the rye? Their rye was all over the place. Every now and then on a single barrel, like it was readily available just 3 or 4 years ago. When was the last time you saw it in a store here in Tallahassee?
Years.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years at least.
I found a single barrel at that dusty, that one up in almost like Havana. It was like a dusty store. That package, I found a single barrel there like 4 years ago, and I was freaking out because I knew how rare it was, but never again.
It's got a lot of flavor. It's not I don't find it to be a thick bourbon. It's still kind of thin in the sense that how it feels, the mouthfeel, but it's definitely packs a punch. It's not thin in flavor.
Very much, and that heat that you talked about on the nose, man. Like I got that initially with the palate, like that kind of hits you in the face, and now after getting 2 or 3, or in the mouth, I should say, but I don't want to say hit you in the mouth. No, should I? It's fine. Here we are. As you kind of settle in a little bit, it is very sweet to me in very pleasant ways. Brown sugar, apples, but it also has like a little bit of citrus zestiness as well. So far, it's pleasant to be, and pretty much like once you get used to both the spice on the nose and the palate, like it starts opening up to something nice. TJ, what about you? What are you getting?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting, just your classic sweetness of, caramel and oak and things that you get it like in bourbon. But yeah, I definitely get some of the apple we talked about, which has been a common theme with a lot of Buffalo Trace's products. I mean, that is not something that like is going to shock anybody, just like we kind of talk about banana with the Brown Foreman line. Some of the apple is there. And then I'll take it right in the finish. I mean, I think it finishes well. We talked about when Joe was on last week with Ben. Ben like craps on every finish and like rates it lower than it really should. But I think it finishes stronger than a lot of the things that we have. Obviously, being the 100 proof helps that. But some of the spice comes back in the finish.
Cinnamony.
It holds on. It hugs you for a long time, So I think it finishes very well also. So
I think there's a lot of
be here.
No, there's a lot of spice on the finish, a lot of, a little bit more tingly, peppery, on the finish. But like you said, it lasts. You get a good taste for, good 10, 15 seconds after you swallow it, so you can still taste it.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to take one more sip. Sorry. All right, let's rate it. I tried to rate it a little earlier a few minutes ago, but we're going to try and rate it this time. If you are new to us, if you've not watched in a while or just need a refresher, we give 10 points, 2 for the nose, 4 for the taste, 1 for finish, 1 for cohesiveness and complexity, and then 2 for value. Value can get tricky because this is a bottle that is almost impossible to find these days. And so, availability sometimes hurts it in a value sense. But if you can get it at retail, we'd probably score this like an 8 or a 9 at a value score. So anyway, Elliott, I'll let you go first again. Guest of honor. You get 2 points for the nose.
I like the nose a lot, but that little bit of burning, I'll knock it down a little. I'll go 1.5 on the nose.
Nailed it. Perfect. That's what I was going to go with too, for the same exact reasons. Pretty, a lot going on, but that little bit of burn, a little bit of spice takes a while to kind of get you familiarized with it. So yeah, 1.5. Not a perfect nose, but a damn good one. I'm with you.
Yeah, you have to kind of like weed through it. It takes it a minute to get there. I'm gonna go 1.25. I'm just a tad lower than you guys. It's still really good. I had it at 1.5 and then knocked it down just a bit for the for the burn. So still pretty close. Brendan, I'll start with you for taste. 4 points.
I think the taste is pretty exquisite. Again, there's that little bit of burn early on, but man, the sweetness. And if we're just trying to think of this in a vacuum without thinking of getting to the value part yet, if you're just saying, hey, here's a bourbon, you're pouring it for someone, it's got a little bit of heat, but then it opens up into something that is sweet and spicy and a little floral too. There's a lot going on, a lot of complexity, but still cohesive. I'm going to give it a 3. I really like it. 3 out of 4 for me.
I like it. Elliott, 4 points.
I hate that. So I'm going to go with the 3 too. I don't know why I don't know why it's a bad. I don't know why it's a bad thing to echo somebody else's score, but immediately you feel dirty.
Ben and I had
because they go ahead.
I was gonna say Ben and I had one where we were just going like back and forth ping ponging, and it's like when you can't order the same thing as someone else just ordered at a restaurant.
Right.
If they order the same thing, you just can't do it. It is.
I was thinking 2.75 just because to me it's not a bourbon that like is uniquely stands out to you, you know, like so if you're gonna rate it among all bourbons, it's got, you know, like you said, it's got a pretty familiar profile in some ways. So, but
very bourbony, very bourbony.
Very bourbony. But yeah, I think a 3 is fair.
I'd say it's very bourbony and has some whiskey notes on the on the back end.
That's an alcohol feeling to it.
Yeah, it's brown. Man, I don't want to be like you guys, but I'm going to go with the 3 as well as what I had for it. Really, really good. Not like out of this world, so it's tough to go much over a 3, which is kind of what we reserve that for. But you know, we'll all just hate each other for picking the same score. Brendan, start us off again with the finish. 1 point.
Out of 1. I will go 0.75. It's certainly above average. It's pretty great. I don't know if it's an elite finish, but there's a lot to like about this. It stays with you, sticks with you. It's still has some complexity going down. So I'm going to go 0.75. If anyone wanted to throw out a 1, I'm not going to yell at you, though, if you said it was pretty close to perfect for a finish.
Elliott, is it perfect to you?
No. When you guys institute the beyond quarter points, I would have found somewhere between 0.5 and 0.75.
0.875.
Oh, no, you can't go anymore. I already have moved off it enough to go for 0.5.
But Brendan kind of swayed me from 0.5 to 0.75. So I'll go with 0.75.
Peer pressure.
So I'm going to give this a 1, and I'm going to say that it's not perfect, but that it's closer to a 1 than a 0.75, and so I'm rounding up. Like, you know, I'm not going to say it's the perfect finish, but I will give it the full point here. Cohesiveness and complexity. I'll let Elliott go first.
Elliott.
It's a 2 point.
It's like ET.
It's a 1-pointer. 1 pointer.
Oh, it's a 1 point.
So it's like
it's got to go 1. Yeah. I mean, I think so. It's got a lot on the nose, a lot on the taste. It's got a good finish. I think it's got everything in that category that only gets 1 point to get the 1 point. I think.
Same way, Brendan?
Perfect. It's cohesive. It's complex. It's tough to do both of those at the same time sometimes, but this nails it. Really good.
Make it 3 in a row. I'll go with the same.
All right.
Bringing our scores before value
Wow,
to
a monster.
Even across the board. We got there different ways, boys, but 6.25 for all of us out of 8.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool. Like we, got there different ways. But all found the same ending point. So, all right. So you get 2 points for value, understanding that this small batch is $45 retail. If I'm correct, 100 proof, but pretty hard to find. For those that are interested, which somebody commented that they like when we mention this, secondary is probably $90 to $100, right?
Yeah,
So
if you want to find it online, 120 seems fairly standard.
So all of that kind of considered, it's a $45 bottle, but it's hard to find, blah, blah, blah. You get 2 points for value. Brendan, start us off.
All right, real quick, just for context and perspective, especially for Elliott here, the 6.25 composite that we have on this going into value, I think the only bourbon that has ever been higher before you get into price is the Smoke Wagon Small Batch, which I know Elliott is quite a fan of. So yeah,
which was also 6.25 for Ben and I, but Brendan is
I was a homer.
Partial. Yeah,
yeah,
like
I was a
that's
homer.
nice.
I was gas.
We used the word for it. We used a word for it before we got recorded. But yeah, like
oh, wow. I didn't know we did that. But I would say in a vacuum that the small batch of Smoke Wagon pushes this one, the E.H. Taylor here. Never mind. I'm getting off. I'm comparing to other bourbons. Let's focus on the E.H. Taylor here. So we all really like this. It's a high quality bourbon. It is a quintessential bourbon and is extremely. Oh, sorry. TJ just started deleting everything on the back end of this, and it really freaked me out. I was watching all the numbers go. It distracted me.
Sorry,
but it's extremely bourbony. Like Elliott said, like, it's not super distinct, but it is really good, and it's it takes everything that's good about bourbon and just amplifies it, which I love. I'm grading this and thinking of this with the value perspective of like that. I've been able to find it at a relatively decent price every time I purchased it. And I'm kind of milking it because I know I can't find it anymore for that. If this was the old $40 to $45 price range, even $50, like to me, this is a 2. However, because we can't find it that readily, it's not that readily available, can't find it that easily, it's still really good, but I'm going to say a 1 out of 2. Long meandering way for me to say a one out of 2, just because it's so hard to find, and that sucks.
7.25 is not a bad score though that Brendan comes up with. All right, Elliott, you get 2 points for value here.
I get all those things about finding it and all that, and like you said, Brendan, you found it enough. TJ, yeah. You found it occasionally. It's a small batch, so it's not like it's the barrel proof or the 4-grain or the seasoned wood. So yeah. I'm going 175 just because Woo! I think I'm judging it on the $45 range. I'm sorry, because I think you can find it, and not readily, but it's weird. It's usually those stores that are off the beaten path that have it. I found one, it was a few years ago, but it was at one of those stores and it was marked at MSRP. So it comes with a cool tube.
It is.
Got to get something for a tube, right?
I'm going to hold up the bottle again. So it's really kind of classic looking. Like it's got the yellow label. It's got the old dude on it. It looks. So that's actual E.H. Taylor. He looks like my friend Wayne's dad. He looks like Mr. McGahee.
You're talking about yourself.
Hey,
I did not come into tonight thinking I was going as high as 8. I was telling myself I'm going to be the guy on the podcast who's going to bash E.H. Taylor because it's way more popular than it should be. It should not be $100 for this bottle. This is a great small batch, and it should be $50 like it is. So.
I was going to say, what would you pay for, Elliott? Say you haven't been able to find it in a couple years. Say it's been 2 years, you've been out of it, and you go into a store and you see it there. What would be a price for you that you'd say is reasonable to throw some money down on for it, to add it back to your collection?
I'm not a good judge because I'm an idiot.
But yeah, there I'm buying it. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I think realistically, 65 is a ceiling for this one.
Yeah,
really to say that you.
60. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about 62, Brandon, but I think 65 for what it is, you could get away with what people are charging for other stuff that's not as good these days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it would be hard for me to pull 100 for it.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm gonna split you guys. I had this at a 1.5 for kind of the same reason Brendan did, but like my thinking or my rationale was that if this was readily available, it'd be a 2. But because it's not, I knocked half a point. So that's kind of how I came up with mine. Elliott's score, I believe, is the second highest total score that we've ever had
Now,
this
but you
show?
can't judge. You have to judge by my scores. How you can't throw me with everybody else's palate because that's not an apples to apples comparison.
Go
ahead.
I think a red
So
apple. There's apples in this glass.
So your last one. So you gave Russell Single Barrel the store pick 6.25. So you jumped.
That is a blatant lie. Pull up the tape.
Brendan gave Smoke Wagon Small Batch an 8.75. My goodness.
Oh my God, did I really? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a pretty close to elite bourbon for the price. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that at $50, and you can actually kind of find it online.
Yeah,
I gave Sazerac Rye an 8, and then tonight's 8 is the third 8 that's ever been had.
I ain't mad at you, Elliott. Like, I think that's reasonable. I think it's extremely reasonable. It's a really great bourbon for the price if you can find it. And you can find it occasionally. Didn't Ben find it at a
Ben
Walmart
found it
recently?
at Walmart. Yeah, 40
like a month ago.
$45.
Yeah,
like
so you
not
can
that
find
long ago.
it.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to give to Elliott because he ran out. So thank
now if
Ben
you
for finding that.
if you can, I still think the best of the line is the barrel proof. And
I have never seen that. Never found it in the wild.
I if you can find a barrel proof, that one's worth splurging on. If you have I think the barrel proof is, even at overpriced MSRP, is a better deal than the four grain and the seasoned wood and all the ones that are going for $800-900 because they're rare releases. The barrel proof it's one of the top bourbons out there, I think.
Can you the seasoned wood? Can you liken that to anything else? Can you is there anything that like people?
I drank
these makers stave profiles.
I drank it so long ago, I can't tell you. I remember that I didn't think it was like, okay, I got to go buy another $800 bottle. I didn't pay that for it. Let's qualify that first. But where it's at now, I was like, no, I'm not spending $800 for that. So, but I remember liking it a lot, but not like being blown away for it. But the barrel proof will blow you away, and they come, and even almost every different proof I've had of it is so good.
Definitely something to look out for. So I think we'd all agree on this. A lot of times we ask if you see this out in the wild, especially at MSRP, definitely pick it up. It's a little bit over, probably still worth picking it up. If it goes over 100, it's probably not because you can just get on the secondary market for less. But yeah, if you can find this, definitely go grab it. Any closing thoughts, guys, or you want to wrap this up and get out of here?
I remember going on a Tallahassee Facebook group again 3 or 4 years ago when I saw this at ABC at $45. The very first time I ever saw it, I asked, "Is this worth it at this price?" Everyone was like, "Yes, absolutely." Little did we all know, it'd probably be the last time it was ever at that ABC because it's now in ABC's vault. So you're not going to see it in person.
I think. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think I like it a little better than the single barrel, to be honest. The E.H. Taylor single barrel. I like the small batch a little better.
I think I agree too. I guess with a single barrel, the mileage will vary, and I've had the chance to try 2 different ones. One I really liked. The other one was like, it wasn't bad by any means, but for the price, when you're saying that single barrel, you're probably going to find $65, $70 if you get it at MSRP. This one for $20 cheaper. I'm with you, man. I'm with you entirely.
I know you don't want to delay this much longer because it's running long, but Brendan, have you thrown away the tube? You don't store it in the tube? You got rid of the tube? What's the story?
I started, because I buy scotches too, so I was keeping all the tubes, and my wife was like, "What are you doing with all these tubes?" So I got rid of all.
So you're not even storing the bottle in the tube and then throwing them both away when you're done?
I have the one bottle that I'm storing in the tube that has not been opened yet, but the one that has been opened, the tube. I don't know. I have so much bourbon spilling all over the house anyways. I can't justify adding empty cardboard to the mix too.
It's just for bourbon. It's not a Scotch person. Bourbon, it's rarer to have stuff in tubes.
Yes, very much.
Scotch,
so.
It's more normal. Yeah.
I like the tubes. They don't fit in my cabinet. They don't fit in my bourbon cabinet, so I do have to throw them away. But I do like the tubes.
It keeps you a mystery of how much you actually have left. You know, it's
that's true.
That's a good
it's
point.
like you're sitting there like, oh, great. And then you take it out the tube and you're like, damn, there's only like a pour left.
And it does add to an extra part of like opening it, like when you first get it. And it's like, it's just there's one extra element
people
of, like,
over. People over.
That too.
Oh, look at this.
It gives it like that little Christmassy, like opening up a pack. You know, it's got that little like birthday present kind of vibe.
On the other side, though, the tube looks identical to the bottle.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's nothing special.
Yeah. So you're getting the feeling with the bottle without the tube anyway.
Real quick.
Brendan just like left as we're. Oh, okay. I thought he was like get up and leave it. I was like, we're gonna wrap the show up or what's going on?
Bye, guys. Yeah, it's just a tube. It's the same as the
Oh yeah, it's like
people listening, you're not gonna be able to see it or hear it. Well, you could hear it, but you can't see it.
Okay, so if you see the coloring on it, that's the difference of the H Taylors. They changed the text color from that's more of an orange. The barrel proof is green. So if you see the green writing,
go after it.
Grab it.
Yes.
Does this gets added to the? Do we officially add this to the big board because Ben wasn't here? Like, is this allowed?
It's allowed. 7 point. Yeah. Did it make it? What did it knock off back there?
So it's 7.33. I have to guess we're gonna have to do. Oh man, High West double rye. We may need Ben to do this just so TJ doesn't throw a temper tantrum that High West double rye got
I don't
knocked.
care.
High West double rye.
Well, it's the same exact It's the same exact thing. So you just have to add to the big board. It's the same
7.33. Let's hang on. High West was what is officially here? It's fine.
I just looked. I'm telling you.
It was 3.33 also.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah! Wow. Oh man, I don't know. All right,
I give
Ben
High
needs
West
to come in.
another quarter point just to help out.
Yeah, you went
keep it there.
Yeah, you went low on purpose. For the
I haven't been, but I do hear. Sorry, just off on tangent. If you get a chance to go to High West, I heard it's absolutely phenomenal.
Man,
same here. Ditto.
I want to go so bad. I had a coworker out there in January when they released Boo Rye, and I had her pick me up a bottle of it, which was only a Utah release this year. So that was we talked about allocations and stuff in the first episode. But yeah, I want to go so bad. She said it was the coolest place they went the whole trip. Like they're like skiing out there in Colorado, and they're like, yeah, High West is amazing.
Especially a beautiful distillery.
And I love their juice as well. So we've obviously given them plenty of love on here. So all right, thanks for hanging out tonight, Elliott. Thanks for joining us again for both episodes. Reminder: this is Bourbon on a Budget. Go back and listen to Tuesday's episode or watch it if that's where you're at. You can interact with us on social media. We enjoy it. We will see you guys next week. Until next time, cheers.